The best doctors in the world had already said goodbye. Not in those words. They used softer language. Exhausted all options, comfort care, time to consider. But Edward Harlan, one of the wealthiest men on the continent, heard the truth beneath every carefully chosen phrase. His son was dying. Nathan Harlan was 9 years old. For 14 months he had been losing weight, losing strength, losing the ability to walk without help. A rare autoimmune condition that attacked his nervous system. Fewer than 200 people in the world had ever been diagnosed with it. Edward had flown in specialists from 4 countries. He had funded a private research team. He had written checks with so many zeros his accountant had stopped flinching. Nothing worked. Nathan lay in a private hospital room on the 6th floor of Harlan Medical Center, a building that bore his family's name, staring at the ceiling with the quiet patience of a child who had spent too long being sick. He had stopped asking to go home 3 months ago. The boy appeared on a Tuesday morning. The hospital had a small garden courtyard on the ground floor. Security knew that homeless families had been sheltering under the overpass 2 blocks east since the cold came. They had chased the boy away twice already. His name was Eli. He was 10 years old. Dark eyes, a too large jacket that belonged to someone else, and a stillness about him that children only develop when they have learned that loud things attract trouble. On Tuesday morning, Eli did not come for food or warmth. He came because he had seen a boy in the window. Nathan had discovered the window 3 weeks into his latest admission. If he pushed himself to the far edge of his bed, he could see a slice of the courtyard below, a triangle of grass, 1 bench, 2 pigeons who visited every morning. It was the most interesting thing in his world. On Tuesday, there was something new. A boy sitting on the bench, looking up. Nathan raised his hand slowly. A small wave. The boy below raised his hand back. No one could explain how it continued. Security swept the courtyard twice daily. And yet, every morning for the next 2 weeks, Eli found a way in, through a propped maintenance gate, through a shift change corridor, once through a catering entrance he had timed with the precision of a small general. He never went upstairs. He never asked to. He just sat on the bench and looked up at the window. And Nathan looked back down. They communicated the way children do when words aren't available. Gestures, drawings held up to glass, expressions that crossed 50 feet of air with perfect clarity. Eli brought things. A feather. A smooth gray stone. A drawing of a dog on the back of a paper bag. Nathan had them all lined up on his windowsill. The nurses noticed. They said nothing. The morning everything changed began like every other. Nathan had a difficult night. His hands were shaking badly enough that he knocked his water glass off the table twice. The doctor had spoken quietly to Edward in the hallway. Edward had come back in with red eyes and sat by the bed pretending to read a newspaper. Nathan watched him pretend. Then he looked out the window. Eli was in the courtyard, but today he wasn't sitting. He was moving with focused, deliberate energy, arranging objects on the ground. Stones. Sticks. A piece of chalk. Nathan pressed closer to the glass. Eli was writing something. Large letters visible from above. "You are not done." Nathan read it twice. He lay back against his pillow. Something moved in his chest, not the disease, not the pain. Something that felt like a small fire being lit in a room that had been dark for a very long time. He reached for the grip trainer that had been sitting untouched on his bedside table for 6 weeks. He picked it up. He squeezed. The doctors called it unexplained stabilization. The specialist from Geneva said the immune markers were behaving in a way he had never seen in 14 years. There was no medical explanation for why Nathan Harlan, in the 3rd week of November, began to improve. Edward Harlan had a different explanation. He had seen the courtyard from his son's window. He had seen the chalk letters. He asked security, who asked the day staff, who eventually gave him the name of a 10-year-old boy from the shelter 2 blocks east. Edward went there himself. No assistant. No security. Just a man in a coat walking 2 blocks in the cold. He found Eli sitting outside the shelter, eating half a sandwich with the careful economy of someone unsure when the next one was coming. Edward sat down beside him on the curb. "You've been coming to the hospital," he said. "The boy in the window looked like he needed someone to look at him," Eli said. "Not at his chart. Just at him." Edward was quiet for a moment. "How did you know what to write?" Eli considered this. "My mom used to say people don't give up because they're weak. They give up because nobody reminded them not to." He finished the last of his sandwich. He just needed reminding. "Where is your mother now?" Edward asked carefully. "She passed last winter," Eli said. "The way children say unbearable things when they've had time to make peace with them." Edward nodded. He sat on that curb for a long time. The shelter was fully renovated by January. Every family connected with housing and medical support. Eli was enrolled in Maplewood Academy in spring, full scholarship, his own room, 3 blocks from school. Nathan was well enough to attend the enrollment ceremony. He walked in under his own power, slowly, but steadily. When Eli walked in, Nathan grinned. The wide, unguarded grin of a boy who hadn't had much to grin about for a long time. Eli sat down beside him. "You squeezed the thing," Eli said. "You told me I wasn't done," Nathan said. Eli shrugged like it was obvious. "You weren't," he said.